Hyrox. Many world records have come and been broken on many a race day. New levels and the bar is continually being raised in our amazing sport. But here, a new challenge, a new type of record attempt within Hyrox. A world record attempt that is bound to push the physical and mental toughness of the two athletes. Hello and welcome to On the Rocks podcast with me, Coach Marshy. Hope everyone is well. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw in those two athletes that I referred to straight away. And welcome to the show, Callum and Travis. How are you doing, chaps?
All good, all good. That was a nice intro. I liked it.
Yeah, that's it.
That's cool. That's cool. That's always a good start to the show when the guests like that bit. So before we dive into who you guys actually are as individuals, Travis, start us off, mate, with a little bit of an intro into what I've just talked about, this world record attempt.
So myself and Callum, we're going to be doing 12 Hyroxes over 24 hours, paired 12 doubles Hyroxes over the 24 hours. So we're both going to do all of the running, and then we're going to do how you normally do it at Hyrox. So you go, I go format of the exercises. So it's 96 kilometers of running and a hell of a lot of wall balls.
Yeah. So Callum, any thoughts to add to that, mate?
No, just a lot of wall balls. A lot of wall balls.
Yeah, and I think anyone who's kind of listening or watching the show will appreciate just what that entails in terms of one Hyrox. At the point of recording this, gents, just so you're aware, my experience is 1 mixed doubles and 2 solos, and training for one of those was hard enough, let alone doing 12 of them in 24 hours. So let's start with you, Callum. Sort of a little bit about you, mate. Who are you? What's your background in sort of sport and fitness? Let everyone know.
Well, obviously you know my name, Callum, and I've always been quite sporty myself. I started off with just football when I was younger, and then I got taller, so then I got into a bit of basketball. Obviously, the height explains it. But then it's like I kind of had a break from all sports during college. I just kind of backed away, and then it come to August last year, and Trav just said to me, "Do you want to do a Hyrox?" And then I said yes, and then my life's changed pretty much. Just been grinding.
We might dig into that a little bit more in a minute, mate. So for you, Trav, what's your background? What do you do? Who are you?
So, Travis House. I've been doing sport since I was like 3 years old. I started with gymnastics. I don't really come from a massively sporty family, but I was always climbing on things, trying to jump from here and there. So, yeah, mum and dad put me into gymnastics when I was younger. Was doing that until I was 15. I had like academy opportunities and stuff like that. Played football on the side. Then I, like Callum, went to sixth form, went to university, lost all motivation for sport, and then met a few people along the way who were there doing running. Got back into some sports, back into football. Got into running. That stemmed into ultra running. And then from ultra running, I found a job at a functional fitness gym as a personal trainer. Then everyone was talking about Hyrox. So I thought, yeah, do a bit of running, may as well sign up, see how we get on. Like everyone else, got the bug for Hyrox, and then thought, how far can I push it? So wanted to combine ultra running, Hyrox into one. And yeah, we're here now. So that's my story of it all.
Yeah, no, you took the words out of my mouth a little bit. I think it sounds like you both got a bit of the bug for it, and this challenge in itself is very much representing that. But let's just go into sort of the why first about this challenge and the idea of Hyrox. So you've obviously both done a Hyrox, as Callum mentioned there. You kind of asked him to do one, and you did that. So take us through that journey briefly between the pair of you. Sort of when was it that you did your first Hyrox together? How did it go? Was it what you expected? All of those sorts of questions. So go for it. Whoever wants to go first.
So I done Hyrox back in April last year. It was a London event in Olympia. And I done that. That was a doubles. Done that with my Hyrox partner, Alex. And we done pretty well, qualified for Worlds. Done Worlds like a month after. From there, I had a break until October where me and Callum flew out to Milan. And we both done a solo Hyrox. We thought, why not try it solo? Both did it solo, both done really well. And then from there, it was kind of the knock-on effect of let's see if we could push it further and further and further. We then went out to Glasgow. A couple of weekends ago. We done the pro weights for doubles. That was our first doubles Hyrox at Hyrox. Obviously, we've done loads for training. But yeah, went there, realised how far we can push in terms of speed, which was good, really good. Because we've been training for ultra marathons. So going from ultra marathon pace to let's see how hard we can take this at a Hyrox event when you've got everyone shouting at you is completely different. Like everyone would know if you've ever done Hyrox. It's completely different. When you're there, you'll go with a plan of, we'll take it nice and easy, go for like, I don't know, zone 2 kind of stuff. The minute you're in there, t-shirt comes off when you're sprinting. So it was good fun to do it with Callum at Hyrox. And doing the pro weights was something else as well.
Yeah. So Callum, tell us a bit about that then. So Glasgow, not too long ago now. Tell us a bit about it.
That was my first doubles ever. Obviously, I've only done a solo in Hyrox officially. So my first doubles, it was very interesting. It obviously helped to break down the components yourself, because doing solo is like you got to taper and you got to have a good rhythm to do the whole component. But when you're in double, it's just go, 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 go the entire race. So that was pretty interesting. Obviously, like catching your breath, you can't catch your breath. But yeah, that was such a good experience and really happy with the time we got as well, to be honest. Really
So just touch on that, mate, actually. Like you mentioned that about the kind of the main difference there. Like I've always said to people that I've been trying to help and coach with my limited knowledge that I've gained so far is that when you're in that double situation, the race is always moving. Whereas if you stand still on the burpees on a solo, you stand still, you don't move. But
yeah,
it's not like that in a double. So you mentioned there about not being able to catch your breath because you kind of get that rest, but you don't because you're straight back in there and it's high level stuff, right?
Yeah, literally pretty much. With doubles, the best way is just to keep doing it, do little bits at a time each, and you can just get it smashed in quicker. Because especially when you're both as strong, as fresh as possible, it's literally an hour race pretty much. Or like if you do it longer, it's like an hour 15 race of just constant work. But when you're doing it solo, it's in a sense, you've got to taper it down so you can complete everything at a good enough time and speed to be able to do the next component at a fast speed.
Totally agree. I having done a doubles and a couple of solos now, I totally agree. And Trav, on that, you talked about zone 2 sort of as like ultra runners and stuff, and then coming into Hyrox and just picking up on what Callum said there. Did you have a strategy that you thought you'd stick to and then it went out the door, or did you kind of just go with how you felt?
Yeah, so we went there because we were getting filmed for Hyrox. They're going to help push the event and stuff like that. So the entire time we were there saying to each other, we'll just take it nice and easy. We've just come off the back of doing one of our like hard training sessions for the 24. Literally the weekend before, we done 7 Hyroxes through 12 hours for like a training block. So we're like, right, we'll take it easy just so next week we can recover. And completely went out the window. We done that first run. We were in the the start line with Kieran Parkinson, I want to say his last name is.
Yeah.
Quick guy, very quick guy. And we're competitive lads. So straight away we saw him go. We were like, game on, right, let's run. We've not beaten them by any means, but it was a quick start line. So we were, from that point, just gone straight away.
The carrot of those like kind of well-known sort of elite athletes, if you like, was that carrot of them being there did you just kind of, when you look down at your watch and stuff, were you already sort of in the red as soon as you started, or
Yeah,
did you
yeah.
manage to control
I
it?
mean, for everyone, I think the minute you walk into the event hall, it gets very real. And I've done 6 Hyroxes. Every time you walk in, you're like, right, go time. You're here now. Let's make the most of it. So the minute we got in that start line, you've got the music playing, you've got John Cena singing to you as you run out of the pen. So yeah, I think that was the point where heart rate went straight up to 190 and it was go time.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's funny you should say that, because I would say my last decade has been like marathon running, not for PB times, a bit of ultra running, again to finish, not to get PB. But I used to be like the most dirty gamesmanship footballer ever, and win at all costs and be competitive. And then, kind of here we are in this world of Hyrox, and I've not seen my competitive drive for like a decade. And then you get me in the arena, and all of a sudden it's my second solo, and I'm like, right, what can I beat it by? And I'm all of a sudden that's come back to me. And I think what you said there is interesting, because I would say from a personal level, and you both said you had a break as well from sort of sport at times, but from a personal level, what you've just said resonates. And I wonder if anyone listening will agree that it does do something to you when you're in there, when you get in those arenas, like especially like Manchester as well, and Olympia maybe, because they're like really special venues. They're 2 of the places I've been, but even at XL and at NEC, I think in the UK, those venues, they're pretty big and it's pretty grand and it's loud, and it just, sounds funny, but releases that inner athlete a little bit as well. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, massively, massively. I think that's the one thing that's the beauty of Hyrox. Everyone's in there doing the same thing. That's the beauty of it. You're on your own journey, you're on your own path, but you're there completing the same race as everyone else. So the minute you walk in, you are that athlete. No matter where you are, what walk of life you're in, you are the athlete today. Go enjoy it. It will push you, and there'll be people there supporting you. You're getting random people out there just screaming at you while you're like skiing. Never met these people before. And it's just, it's a beautiful sport to be a part of.
Yeah, Callum, anything to add to that, mate? Obviously, you mentioned about the break that you had and sort of like that competitive drive and stuff. So go on.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like what Trav said, basically, like you could be training and it could like not feel as anything, but as soon as you get in that arena, your head just goes right, locked in, enjoy it and just smash it. And then even when you're racing, you might even turn up a gear because you got people screaming you. They might even know who your name is. And it's just full on. It's absolutely amazing. And you'll get people cheering you on as they go past and that. It's such a good atmosphere and it's so supportive, which is the best thing about Hyrox. Like everyone wants the best for you, you know?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally feel all that as well. So yeah, I couldn't agree more. So let's dig into this challenge then. Which, by the way, you two, well, A, you're heroes for giving it a go. B, you're absolutely nuts for giving it a go as well. So let's talk about where it was born from, why you decided to do it, what the drive behind it was, and sort of MacMillam as well, who you're doing it for.
I think that's Trav.
So it came about from literally completing my first Hyrox back in April 2023. Done that one paired, and all the running events I've done previously have been 24-hour events. So I've climbed up Mount Snowdon in a relay as many times as I could in 24 hours. I done the Berkeley Marathon, so it's based off the Barkley, but over this way, called the Berkeley in the Cotswolds. That was another 24-hour event. So it's just really stemmed on from there. I like those kind of, you've got this time cap, how far can you run? They're my favorite ones. So I was like, right, how far can we push it? How many can we do? Let's see what can be done. First time solo doing it, not for me, I don't think. I think maybe in the future we'll look at that. But I was like, right, I want to do this one paired. All the running, absolutely fine, but you do still get that rest. So had the idea, went to Hyrox with the idea. I'm very much like, I'm going 100% on this. And if it doesn't work out, then I've just got to keep pushing until something comes together. Hyrox vouched for it. They were like, we love the idea. Let's try and make something happen. Like I said to you before we started filming, would have loved to do it at a Hyrox event, but yeah, having the hall open for 24 hours, I don't think it's possible, which is fair enough. So now we're doing it at the gym I work at in Saffron Walden, and then kind of thought, right, need the perfect partner for this because it's 24 hours of hell, really. And then Callum previously has done an ultra marathon. He'd done the Goggins 4x4, 4x4 by 48. And me and Callum have been friends for years. Like year 7 at school, we basically grew up together from that point. So I was like, who better to do it with than my best mate? Asked Callum if he wanted to do it. Just sat in Starbucks one day. And he went, like, literally, plain face, yep, that was it. So from there, it kind of spiraled into, right, how can we now start training for it? Because training differed. We then had to try and combine what our strengths were to create 12 effectively, and a big ultra marathon that both of us have ever done. So we're now here and running a lot more than we ever have.
Yeah, no. So Callum, we'll unpack some of that in a minute with you guys, but go back to that moment where he asked. I was going to make that assumption. It sounds like it would have been right that he just came to you and asked you this question. What did you actually think? It sounds like you might have been a bit poker face and like just said yes, but what was going on in your head when he sort of suggested it?
A couple of things went into my head. First thing that goes, who would think of such an idea, for starters? Yeah. But then I also thought of the opportunity that it could bring as well.
Yeah.
Because I just thought, you know what, if I say no to this, like, I'll regret it. Let's be real. A world record is something that every person strives for in their life.
Yeah.
Like being the best at something, you know. So I was just like, no, straight away, yes, say it, deal with the problems later on. And yeah, very much.
Yeah, no,
that's the way the story goes.
I think like people sort of overlook personal challenge within charity challenges. And that's no sort of like, I don't mean that disrespectfully to any sort of charities out there. I just mean that like we want to raise money for something we're passionate about, and we'll ask you about that in a minute. But there is that personal challenge in this, and that's why you're doing it. And you want to go and set out to do that personal challenge of trying to set this world record. And like you said, Callum, to have a world record against your name, no matter how long it stands for or doesn't stand for, if you get it, you've always got that and no one can ever take it away from you, right? But just talk to me about MacMillam. Obviously, to be honest, Trav, it sounds like you and I probably have a very similar entry point into Hyrox sort of last year, the 2023 season. And we did the Royal We from the gym did Olympia. That was our first experience. We'd never seen it. We'd never been in the hall or anything like that. So, you know, in terms of that, MacMillam is a very well publicized charity, especially in the running space. But actually, it's great to see that they've partnered up with Hyrox as well. So I'm just wondering why you selected them, or is it because it is the charity partner of Hyrox?
Yeah, solely it is because it is the charity partner of Hyrox. That is the reason. But it doesn't stop there. I think a lot of families, people are affected by cancer. So for us to be able to give something back and raise money for such a good charity, such a good reason, I think as well, it really does help us and motivate us to really go and do this challenge, push for fundraising. So that there's obviously that motivation behind it as well.
Yeah, no, and that, yeah, spot on, mate. I think that, you know, that probably comes without saying that bit. And you know, you'd like to think we're all grown up enough in this world now for people to realize that, you know, it is not enough just to say you're going to go and try a world record. You probably need some more incentive. And when that incentive is, like you say, linked to sort of families that are affected by cancer, and, you know, the amount of people that must do Hyrox that know somebody or someone in their family has gone through cancer, and that, you know, that fundraising and support from MacMillam, and that, you know, a lot of people will have been affected in a positive way from that charity in terms of the support they've been able to give. So I think that's really cool. So let's talk about them first. Obviously, you went to them, you talked to them about this challenge. Where are they at with this challenge? Are they really on board with you? Are they going to be there supporting you? Is it going to be sort of publicized by them?
Yeah, so where we've been chatting to someone at Hyrox, they've helped us with getting MacMillam on board, sharing the event with them. So luckily enough, today we're getting released in a reel on Hyrox, and they're going to be collaborative with MacMillam, so MacMillam's going to help us push it. And so we're just trying to really raise funds at the moment as well. At the event, we've got teams of 4 going at the same time, not doing the full 24 hours, but we're going to have a different team of 4 every 2 hours when we go out for a Hyrox, join beside us, completing their own Hyrox beside us. And they're all sign-ups from people that I coach at the gym, which is really cool. So each one of those is going to pay £15 per head. Joining beside us, that's going to raise a lot of money as well, which is really good. We're going to try and do some little challenges while we're at the event. Myself and Callum are going to concentrate on doing 12 Hyroxes, but people at the gym will be kind of doing, like at Hyrox, where it's the 100 wall balls. We just do 100 wall balls for time. That you've got to pay £5 to donate. Those sort of things where we want to raise a lot of money on the day, because I think that's going to be our best approach. We just want to keep raising and fundraising money and spreading this message that MacMillam do have.
Yeah, no, that's awesome to hear. And obviously, from yours and Callum's point of view, you'll be, you'll be focusing on the challenge, right, Callum?
Yeah.
It'll be a case of you focusing on what you're doing and having to kind of just deal with fatigue and stuff while everyone else does everything else, right?
Yeah, pretty much, mate. Just in the zone will be for 24 hours, I reckon.
Yeah, there ain't going to be a lot of sleeping, chaps. We'll get into that in a minute. Obviously, great to hear that Hyrox and MacMillam will be behind you. Great to hear that there's going to be a bit of media from Hyrox as well on this as well. So obviously, we'll make sure we find that and share it as well. Like I think we did in various platforms that I'm on last week as well, when you sort of put out the post about this as well. So we'll make sure we get it out there. What we'll also do to those guys that are listening is within the description of wherever you're watching or listening this, there will be the link to the donation page and to your social medias, so that people can find out more and follow the challenge as well. So here we are Sunday, I'm not quite sure, Sunday the 17th of March. So that's when we're recording this. So if you're listening to this after the event, this was everything before the event. So when is the actual event taking place?
So the event is on the 6th of April, running all the way through, starting at 12 p.m, running all the way through until 12 p.m. on Sunday, the 7th of April.
Excellent. And in terms of how you're feeling right now, Callum, what would you say?
Yeah, feeling pretty good, mate. I'm excited, really excited. Obviously got the nerves, but mainly it's just excited to get it all going.
Yeah, same question,
Definitely.
Trav. How are you feeling?
Like Callum said, I think the nerves are there, definitely there. There's always that anticipation with it. On the day, you just got to do what you can, push to your limits, and then let your body and your mind do the rest. I think that's everyone who's done ultra marathons can experience that. Even Hyrox, it's you against you out there. So hopefully it all come together and piece well nicely while we're on the day.
Yeah, it's really interesting actually, because you keep making the link, and I like it. I like the link to the ultra world because clearly we come from those backgrounds. We're into the running side of life and the ultra running world, but this is like an ultra marathon, not only in time, but as you sort of say, what did you say it was? It works out as 96K, is it?
Yeah.
I mean, anyone, by the way, anyone who's done ultra running that's listening or watching, you'll understand that doing a 100K race is hard work. Then trust us when we say throw in 100 wall balls, 80 meters of burpees, some lunging, some sled pushing and pulling on top of that distance. And by the way, for anyone who gets to listen to this and is here because they're following the challenge, when we say run, both these guys will be running all of the run. So they don't get to go a you go, I go phase on that. They have to do all of the running together. So take us through that a little bit. Let's break down the challenge. So the run itself, is it being done on a 1K loop from the gym, or is it being done on treadmills in the gym?
Go on, Cal, you can answer this one, mate.
Well, there's a point from where the gym is. We can run 500 meters and then we just run back. and that is literally the loop we've been doing all of training, pretty much. So it's not bad.
See, now that go
the
on.
loop itself is hilly.
Is it?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
Yes. So here I am sitting in lovely little flat Cambridgeshire, but our neighbouring county, where Saffron Walden is definitely not flat. So by the sounds of it, you'll be running up a hill. Just talk to me about that, Callum, a little bit. The idea is that you go out, do 500 meters out and back, and that gives you that. For me, instantly, that says wicked. You're going to get some fresh air. You're going to get a little bit of like natural environment around you. So yeah, talk to me about that quickly.
Yeah, no, yeah, literally, as you turn out, it's a hill from the start, and then you get a bit of flat, go around a little bend, and it's another little hill. But on the way back, it's just downhill, which is pretty nice. And then there is a nice view over Saffron Walden because it's quite out of the way of Saffron Walden, so you get to see a little view, which is quite pretty. But yeah, that's good.
That'll be good for your minds, I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because when we was doing the 7, and we've obviously done a 4 and a double. We sunset came out both times, and it was just that was the nice bit. That was definitely.
Yeah. So there's loads of questions here. I've done a few 24-hour challenges like spin-a-thons and stuff like that. So talk to me about like this will be every 2 hours is the start line. So in a way, it's kind of got a bit of Goggins about it in the sense that every 2 hours you're gonna start regardless of how long the previous one took you, right?
Yeah. No matter how long the last one took us, it's literally as soon as 2 hours come up, we're back on the start line going for the next one.
Yeah, so it's like a double Hyrox every 2 hours on the hour. That is epic. And do you know what? Anyone who understands the terminology of like fitness with EMUMs and AMRAPs and stuff like that, you know, when you start talking about what you guys are about to do, it actually, obviously I thought about it before we came on the show, but when you talk about it, it sounds even more monumental the more I'm saying it, which isn't to put you guys off in any way, but do you get the same feeling?
Yeah. Yeah. I think what a lot of people don't understand about it is that when we just say it, we can say it to ourselves. It doesn't really click. When you start saying it and other people around us start saying it, we're like, yeah, no, we do sound crazy. Yeah, we do sound like this is definitely going to be hard. But I think now we've done a lot of the training for it. It's kind of give us that clarity of we know what we can do. We know what we can be capable of. Now let's just keep pushing it and keep taking it further.
Yeah, so talk about the training a little bit. Callum, you go first, mate. In terms of the hours that you've kind of been putting into this, is there kind of like a set format? You've been increasing it, or you know, what's the kind of average per week? Would you say?
I've not really one to calculate hours, but I'd definitely say there's been a lot of hours, early mornings, late nights, and at the start of when we first realised, we slowly introduced a lot more miles, and then over a month or two, we increased it plus 50k, and then we've just been trying to keep that, but whilst getting compromised running in. And then making sure we get the good type of running in as well, like interval tempo kind of running.
Yeah.
And it's just about like you got to hit those miles, but you've also got to get those training sessions in that are crucial.
Yeah, no, well, we unpack the challenge, Trav. Like compromise running is a term that anyone who's doing Hyrox will probably be familiar with now. But how have you been getting those compromise runs in? What kind of sort of little sets and reps and little AMRAPs and things you've been doing with that?
So the main compromise runs we've been doing have been around like an hour and a half, 2 hours long of just pure, not full simulations to such. It's more, let's do some run into sled, back run, then just mixing up whatever it is we're doing exercise wise. We done one a couple of weeks ago that was a Hyrox simulation, but instead of doing a sled push, sled pull, all the core exercises, it was swapping them out for something that coincides with them. So instead of the sled push, we were on the bike for like 200 calories. Instead of doing the pull, we were doing seated rows, landmine rows. Instead of doing wall balls, we're doing barbell thrusters. It's stuff like that where we're trying to keep it fresh because we've done so many Hyroxes now that we do need that kind of fresh start each time that we go do some sort of simulation or some sort of training session.
Yeah, no, I think people. I've been lucky to have a conversation with various people at the top of this sport, and what you've just said comes out from them as well. And that when you don't have to do wall balls to become good at wall balls. You can do other things like the thrusters, for example, barbell thrusters. You become good at barbell thrusters, you'll probably be pretty good at wall balls. In terms of specifics leading up to like nearly event time, I get all that, 8 weeks out, let's do some specifics and all of that. But obviously it sounds like you guys are trying to keep it interesting and, like you said, not become bored of it. Do you worry about burnout in training, Callum, or do you feel all right about it?
You've always got that worry for like the training that we've been doing, especially when we done the 7. It was like, obviously there's always the risk of anything when you're doing that kind of demand just for a training session, But as long as you eat right and you do the right recovery, it may sound so simple yet so specific, but it is just the key to all of this. Is just recovery and eating the right foods.
Yeah, I mean, Trav, as a PT, you might share this with me. In the everyday athlete, what Callum's just described is probably the hardest bit to get clients to do.
Yeah, big time. I think it's a lot of discipline. It's a lot of discipline. When we first started, the main bulk of this training block, it was a lot of discipline. Lace up your shoes, go out and do it. And for every kind of hour that we were out on the road, it was at least half hour recovery on top of that. So it's a lot of discipline to make sure you're not getting injured. Make sure you're, again, eating the right foods all the time. It's a game of eating, which is quite nice for me. I quite like it, but it's hard. It's hard going.
And in terms of that kind of recovery process, guys, is there any sort of format to it? You doing any of the new latest trends, ice baths or anything like that?
I've got a bin in my garden. That is my ice bath.
Yeah,
I've got a blue bin right there. That is my ice bath that I've been jumping in every training session.
I won't mention any brands, but you could spend hundreds of quid on an ice bath, and actually your reel on Instagram yesterday or whenever it was of you jumping in your blue bin is as well. It's I'm not even going to use the word as effective. It is effective, and it is a great way to do it. Obviously, like if you're going to do this at home, guys, I'd suggest that you find a way in and out of that bin. But it's probably quite hard to tip over if it goes wrong and you can't get out. But I think I think sort of ice baths, sleep, hydration. How is all of that with this kind of demand of the training that you have? Are you making sure you prioritize that sort of stuff?
I reckon I can speak for me and Callum. We work pretty early jobs. Being a coach and Callum in his industry, we're waking up at like 4:30 a.m. each day. We could be at training till about 11 o'clock. Sleep could definitely be better. And I think we both know that. But we've kind of tuned into that now where we know our limits. I think that's good. It's knowing your body. I think we both know that. I'm speaking for myself and Callum, but Callum can obviously say something. I know my body. I know my mind. I know where I can push it to the limit. I know where on certain days I say, right, a little bit too tired today, not fully recovered. Let's just dial it back a tiny bit. And I think that's the key to all of this. It's just knowing yourself, knowing how far you can push yourself on certain days and how well recovered you actually are.
Yeah, Callum, go on, elaborate, mate. So sort of with your job and that, you're early as well. So you feeling sleep deprived at the minute?
Well, my job is very physical, like manual labor. I'm a coalman. If you don't, do you know what a coalman is?
No, I could have a guess, but go on, tell us.
Yeah, so basically, it's a family business, and we deliver coal, charcoal, logs, all that kind of stuff to people's houses, but to people's like companies as well. And obviously, that requires me to unload like 25 kg bags, like hundreds and hundreds of times.
Yeah.
And obviously that's just a lot of workouts itself. But when it comes to that, it's just like I try to limit how much I can do when I get home, before
Yeah.
training, because I've done training sessions straight after work, and then I've like pulled something, and that's just it. If you're out for a week or something, you know, just trying to sit. So you just literally, like Trav said, just got to listen to your body. And there is training to a point where you got to be smart about it. You know,
Yeah.
like there's no point just going to the point where you can train ridiculous, and then if you get injured, what then? Like that's
Yeah, no.
literally years. That's years out of the way, and you've just got to sit down for 6 months. You know, like it's just not worth it. It's just not. So listening to your body is definitely key, 100%.
Yeah, no, it's good to hear, chaps. It's interesting to hear as well, because obviously what you're about to take on is huge. And the nice thing is yeah, you got Trav, you got a challenge, and you've gone to your mate with it, and you know, he thinks you're nuts for it, but said yes. So, you know, I think, you know, who would come up with a challenge like that? He said at the beginning, I believe. And like, I think you've come up with that, but it sounds like you've come up with it, and between the two of you throughout the process so far, you've kind of worked your way through it, talked about what needs changing and training, things that you need to adapt and learn, and you've learned about your own bodies and yourselves. And this wasn't just sticking a finger in the air and going, oh yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah. I think it's, especially since we came up with the idea. I mean, it's been a year in the making. We've definitely changed as people and athletes. We've both completed numerous amount of challenges from the point of talking about it till now. So I think we've definitely learned and built along the way. I've done loads of challenges previously. This is the most I've ever trained for a challenge, and I can say that I feel like I'm now hitting towards the fittest I've ever been, mentally and physically. So I think this has really been like a spark into something else. What comes after it, I don't know. But for now, this is definitely the peak that I've been in terms of mental and physical fitness.
So actually, from the point where we're recording, just looking at my calendar, 3 weeks today, you'll be done.
Yep.
Not that you're counting. You definitely probably will be at that phase now. Everyone who's done a challenge will know how these guys are feeling right now, because they'll be thinking like that. They'll be counting the days. They'll be working it out. They'll be working out what they're doing to celebrate, probably sleeping by the sounds of it. But Callum's birthday, what, on the Sunday?
Yeah.
Yeah, the day we finish is Callum's birthday.
Oh, that could be bad. Yeah. Yeah, I mean the little trip to celebrate to the pub after, yeah, and then you don't move and you sit down and tighten up and all of that. It could be bad. Yeah, no, that's cool. So, a couple more questions then around the challenge. Let's talk about how it's going to go on the day. We know what you're going to do. We know what some of the others are going to do. And we know there'll be challenges there. Anyone coming down to cover it for you, or going to be there to try and cover it for you?
Yeah, so previously in one of the first ultra marathon I've done, I had a documentary out about that. So the guy who filmed that has wanted to film this one. So we're going to have a kind of short film coming out about this challenge, which would be cool. We're going to have people come down, photos, reels, all the rest of it. But the main one is going to be, that documentary that will be coming out afterwards. It'll have the actual event will be the majority, will be the chunk of it, but there'll still be bits of our training and us actually completing Hyroxes.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I don't normally digress who I support for football in here, but I'm a Norwich City fan, and on that Saturday it is Norwich versus Ipswich, chaps. So I'm gonna have to go to the game first, and then I do intend to come and see you. But the best thing about this is that it's all night, right? So you know you'll be there all night and the next morning as well. So I do intend to come down, guys, and get a little bit of coverage for all of our followers that we've got so far, and cover the event for you as well. But obviously I'll be there a little bit later on. In terms of where people can sort of find out a little bit more, I'll share it all in the description, but just tell them where they can sort of follow you and the challenge between now and then.
Go on, Cam.
No, you go, mate. You do it.
So the challenge is going to be, from what I've been told from Hyrox, it's going to be fully done by them as well through the 24 hours. So they're going to be following us around for the 24, taking stories. So you'll be able to follow on there. You'll also be able to follow on me, Travis Owls on Instagram, and Callum is Brat Callum on Instagram. we're going to have people doing our social media throughout the time as well, so people are always up to date with it. As well, the gym that we're doing at, Unique Gym Saffron Walden, they're going to be uploading stories as well. And then on my Run Clubs page, Summit Mentality, on our website, we're going to be having like a live tracker, hopefully, as long as we get up and running, of where we are within the challenge.
That'll be cool. That'll be really good for people to look at, and I'll get as many of the links off you. You can send them to me, and we'll put them in the description as well, so people can sort of follow that at a time as well. In terms of sort of the prep, 24 hours or 48 hours or so out of the event, is there anything you're specifically thinking about doing, or that you're going to put into place to make sure it happens? Callum, anything on that?
48 hours before, I'll definitely visit Moto Pizza.
Right, okay. Get the calories in.
It's all you can eat stone baked pizza. It is so good.
Do you know what?
Carving up. I think that'll be the key thing.
What an answer! I love that. That's a real answer. That is. That is the kind of thing that I love to hear, actually. And I'm a pizza fan anyway, mate. So love that. Absolutely love that.
You gotta go Moto. You gotta go Moto. It's so
my mate lives quite close to Saffron Walden, so maybe he can. He'll know it. There's no way he won't know it. So maybe he can take me. But yeah, go on, Trav. From the PT side,
recovering, just making sure. Still, obviously we're in taper. Then that will literally be the last final few steps. I like to have my kit ready. Even 24 hours out, I have that kit ready. Know exactly what I'm using when I'm using it. Just making sure that all the support team know what's going to happen at what points. Making sure that I've got the majority of my kit set up for me, just so it's bang bang go straight through. And then, like kind of said, eating a lot.
Yeah, and Callum, for you, mate. Are you worried about being able to sleep beforehand or not?
I'm gonna try. I will try get as much as I can. I will try and push it to. I'm gonna need as many hours as possible, especially when going like 24 to 48 without. So
yeah,
but yeah, that's just it, mate.
Do you know what? It's absolutely epic, chaps, and I think fair play for you even to conceive the idea that you're going to give it a go, and it's just going to roll. I've done 24-hour challenges, and I think once you're in, and I don't see that. You don't see that many people drop out of a challenge like this, because you're in it, and you're not going to fall out of it. You won't break as such. And any thoughts around breaking? Any worries, concerns, or do you think you got it?
I think the main concern is injury. Other than that, it's a mental battle. Although there's two of us, it's you against you, and your mind can say one thing, but I've always believed, and I think we've both shared it, is that, like you said, the Goggins thing. I highly believe that when you think you're done, you're 40% done. You've still got another 60% in the tank. If you go with that mindset, I think we can go away very easily. Not very easily, but we can get to the end quite nicely.
Yeah, no, it's an epic story, epic adventure so far. And, it's great having you on the show and talking about it and getting your thoughts today and understanding where you're at. And what'll be great, guys, is if, in a few weeks' time, post-event, once you've kind of had some time to think about it and reflect on it, we can come on again and do another one to find out how it actually went as well, so that we've got the before and the after kind of caption of what you say. And, just something you've both highlighted and touched on, I think, throughout today is how Hyrox, the process of this, but Hyrox has had a positive impact and changed your lives. Anything you want to add on that? Like, it'd be good to hear what a little bit more on that, and how you think Hyrox has affected you really positively and changed your life. So whoever wants to go first, go for it.
Go on, Cal.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll put this out there. I'm happy to admit it. I've always been quite a failure and quitter when it comes to sports. I'll admit it. Like, you got to be real with yourself. And doing just Hyrox in general, especially this challenge, it's changed everything about my life and persona. I'm doing everything so much more positive and better than ever. And I think it's the best thing I could have ever done. to start, especially, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just like your way of life changes as a whole, and your way you think of life in a sense, because we've all gone through the dark days, the shit moments. But as soon as you start something that you really, really enjoy, and it brings out that mental challenge and so much positivity and new friends, new beginnings, it's like it opens so many doorways. It's just absolutely amazing. And I've got all Trav to thanks for most of it, to be honest. He's the one who asked me to do this and got me into Hyrox, so thanks.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, mate. That's good to hear. And for
Yeah.
you, Trav, Hyrox changed your life?
For me, it's definitely helps me in a sense of find where I want to be in sport. I've always struggled to find what sport I wanted to go towards, what one I wanted to follow. I've been in sports where they've not been welcoming. Doing Hyrox is honestly the most welcoming community I've ever been in or ever been a part of. I get people like when we were in Glasgow came up to me and started speaking about their Hyrox time and how to improve. I like that. People are constantly looking to get better at something at Hyrox, and you can walk up to anyone there and just sort of say, "Oh, how'd you get on? How was it? How'd you find it?" At the finish line, you're there like high-fiving people that you've never met before. I think for me, it really does bring that sense of community, and it does bring that sense of pride from everyone. Everyone who is there is an athlete in their own right. Anyone who takes on Hyrox, it is a good challenge. It's real. It's got a real buzz to it when you're at the event, even outside of the event, and all the workouts as well. It's good to see everyone taking on something that is difficult, and everyone does find it difficult. You just do it at your own level. I think that's the beauty of the sport as a whole. Is it's so accessible for everyone, and everyone can push to their own limit. So I think that's why we wanted to take on Hyrox and try and take on that little bit more where we can push our own limits.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. That's really cool. And like, you know, it'll be interesting to know what the owners and the hierarchy at Hyrox think to all of this, because your answers and how I feel and echo those things that you've both said. If 3 people here are sitting here thinking these things and saying these things, the impact this sport must be having worldwide must be massive. Things like mental health and physical health for people, and the way the world has become sort of sick and ill from being obese and metabolic disease and all of this. And then you got something like Hyrox now that can offer everyone that path. Not like you said, Trav, it's not just about the super elite. It's like everyone's taking it on, and no matter what level you are, it's hard. Whoever you are, whether you're Hunter and Meg, or whether you're sort of like us guys within gyms that know a range of abilities that are doing it, doesn't matter who you are taking on the same race. And I think you've highlighted that a few times, that idea of taking on the same race. And I think Hyrox gets a lot of rubbish on social media for its what I would call growing pains. I don't think they're any more than that. And I think people should be a little bit more open to the success of it, away from just being a sport that we can go and compete in and earn money in. Look at the success of it from just what you two have said, and if you two are saying that, and I agree with it, what else is Hyrox actually doing for the world? And it will be way more positive stuff than it is negative. And I think, you guys are an absolute example to that, and what it means. And you're going to raise money for charity. You're pushing yourselves mentally and physically through a challenge. Like, all of this stuff is underestimated, in my opinion, as to what a sport like Hyrox can do and has done. And I think, you probably both share that in the ultra world as well. I think, that's another conversation for another day, but I think ultra running's the same, and we'd all agree there. So, yeah, no, cheers, chaps. Stay where you are for now. What we'll do is we'll thank you very much for coming on the show. We'll wish you all the best from everyone at Neil Marsh Health and Fitness and on the Rocks podcast. Trav, loads of them love you, mate, and have met you when you were here for a competition. Especially I think Tate, he said he's kind of struck up a bit of a relationship with you as well.
Yeah.
So he said he loves following the journey, and it's great. It's great that you're doing it. So good luck from all of us, guys. We wish you all the best. And What we'll do, team, is we will share this with everyone we can. If you're listening and you know anyone who's been affected by cancer and supports MacMillam and the challenges that they do share this episode with them. If you are sort of listening in or watching in on YouTube and you think there's someone that needs to hear what Trav and Callum have had to say today, do share this episode. If you could like, subscribe, comment, all of those things will help. It's all about the algorithm. People love the algorithm. They don't know what it means. Neither do I, but we love the algorithm. Anything you can do to share that. Just remember that we absolutely love you here on The Rocks, and we're going to share with you these stories every single week so that we can get this sport and our world of hybrid fitness growing. We believe in that, and we share that with a lot of other podcast providers. So thanks very much for listening. Thanks, boys, for coming on the show, and we hope to meet here again so that we can discuss more on The Rocks.